Well, good morning, and it's Keith Hayes with affairs from the Heart, the White Hart, in fact, the hotel bang in the centre of Lewis with a huge history, a history that shook the world when Tom Paine reviewed and thought through his formula for the rights of the common man, the rights of man, as it is officially known, and went off to the United States and persuaded the slightly rebellious like the colonists, yes, that's the word, colonists, to be a bit uppity. And they were. And that's why we now got the United States of America and Britain as separate entities. Mind you, being colonial is not something that sits easily with people nowadays. Thinking changes. The chances are that this sort of thinking would never prevail in modern society. Well, it is Friday, TGIF, and an awful lot of people are thinking that way. So what we'll do is we will do what we do in the previous program, and that is take a very, very quick flip through the newspaper front pages. The Daily Express is a government-supporting newspaper in the main. Defiant Trust will rip up the Brexit border deal, and they report on plans by the government to get over what has become unworkable in terms of the differentiation between the EU and Britain and Ireland. It's a problem, and the government wants to ditch the deal and start all over again. The Lords try to delay Truss from tearing up the Brexit pact. The doesn't like it very much. Daily Telegraph, Lord Frost, who helped negotiate it, says to Barris, dig your heels in, boy. You have said that this needs reform. See how far you can get. And I must say, it is unusual to find any politician supporting reform. The Daily Telegraph, Lord Frost. Yes, sorry, that was the front page that I just gave you. The Guardian, a US team flies in, fears over Northern Ireland deal. So the Americans are getting twitchy, but why, I have no idea. The Sun, she's Dame Debs, and the Sun's headline is that a lady has been given the equivalent of a knighthood, a dame, and her work on cancer and so on, but she's relatively well known, so I guess she's picking it up for an awful lot of people. Daily Mail, 91,000 civil service jobs. Now that's the key thing for me, and the thing that we'll talk about bit by bit this morning. The civil service has been top heavy for quite some time. Nobody ever dared to take them on, and you can see how Boris Johnson, how his assessment of his stock has risen, is that he's dared to do the unthinkable and said, look, reform is in the air, you've got to do it. Now you guys get on with it. We need people back at the office. It's not working at the moment. We've got all sorts of tentative relationships that have sprung up because of the internet, and all well and good. But you need the face-to-face ones in the workplace. This hasn't worked. Why hasn't it worked? And it takes 2 minutes for somebody to look. I've got my key, my tie caught in the main key. That sort of thing. Farcical though they may have been, they served a purpose. Right. So the Times will be the Tories risk losing the next election. Jeremy Hunt, who would be a leader, has said, look, we're not paying enough attention. As a party, we're not paying enough attention to the cost of living rising and the stories that are starting to come out of children not being able to go to school, of not having enough to eat, and so on. Is it true? Well, I mean, the fact is, we only find out by people actually saying definitively whether they find it a truism or not. I mean, are we ignoring the fact that people are going through a bad time? There's no question we're going through a bad time. I'm not disputing that. But some of the people that are brought up by the more senior journalists than I in London as case examples is that you have to look at every case example very, very carefully, because otherwise things just get messy, and you're not doing what you say that you're going to do. Okay, so the Daily Mirror, it goes back to actually, it reverts to the fight between Labour and Conservative. The meters measuring COVID amongst the staff being ignored, or told that they won't actually be participating in anything to do with the sort of thing that we get up to in our society, I guess. It's a Friday. It is a Friday. And I think that what we will do is yes, I think that's a reflection of what's being said in the newspapers this morning. Let's share a little. Yes, let's. This next piece is presented by a former Mirador star, Annie Verrill, and it's about time that we got behind the charities who have lost out a great deal. And Action Cancer UK is one that's lost a lot of its momentum, but also its cash. The charitable donations and so on switched to COVID-related things, and the supporters of Action Cancer UK found themselves left behind in the rush to maintain the paters, and in fact, the rivers in British Columbia were supposed to be stocked well with fish, and that was their part in that federation. Shouldn't go on with the history lesson for too long, I don't think. All I can say is that the efforts to keep some sort of calm, keep some sort of camaraderie, keep some sort of ability to handle the worst situations is all geared to fighting the immigrant problem. The Action UK, Cancer UK have decided that they were going to keep on, and we when we first moved to decent premises, made a number of programs, and we're just reviewing some of them now. One is Annie Verrill, who's a very talented young broadcaster, but who opted. I mean, it is not the life for everybody, believe me. What you may see as jolly good hijinks is people are working very hardly in the background to support these charities and to get the word out, and we do that at Mirador. And it isn't an easy thing at all. It's well, it is what it is, really. So why don't we go to Annie and Leslie?
We have a lovely lady in Lewis, quite well known, I would say, Leslie Hills, a cancer survivor. She decided to give back something to the charity that helped her. What does she do? She paints portraits or any of your favorite pictures, a photograph. Every penny she earns, she gives to cancer research. She is a lovely lady. In normal circumstances, you would see her in the window at the cancer research shop. However, you can even send a photograph via email to her and she will paint your portrait or a favorite picture. She does plan on getting back there in the window fairly soon. Our program, Leslie's People, looks at the person in the paintings, so we can find out a little bit more about that person in the portrait. Take a look at our series, Leslie's People, and if you like the idea, if you like the portraits you see in the programs, why not get in touch? She is very much looking forward to your emails. Take a look. It would be a great gift. Well, good morning, Hannah.
Hi.
Thank you for seeing us early morning.
So
What time do you get here?
we normally get here about, well, I get here about 10 to every morning, 10 to 9, so the shop out ready to open. And yeah, just put the money in the till and you're ready to go. We normally try and get quite prepared the night before, and so there's less to do in the morning because sometimes we have donations on the doorstep and you never know how long that's going to take, but yeah.
Yes, many times I see the bags in front of the door and I thought, oh,
Yes.
all the work that you have to do.
Yeah. A lot of that we aren't able to use if it rains and whatnot.
Oh, yes.
So it all gets wet. But yeah, sometimes it's fine. It's fine.
Now, of course, the reason why we're here is the lovely painting, which was painted by Leslie Hills. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows Leslie by now in Lewis. So, when did this happen?
So Leslie has painted a couple of the other managers that have worked in the shop, and she just came up to me and she didn't have a commission that week or month, and she just said, "Can I paint you?" And I hate having my picture taken. I hate anything to do with that. So I agreed, and she did it. So paint out all the floors and make me look nice.
Oh no,
she did
brilliant.
it. She did it, and then we had it in the window for a little bit, which was quite funny. We had it behind the till for a little bit, which was quite funny as well. But my hair was always changing colours. I think at the time the picture was taken, it was actually, I think, pink or something.
Oh wow.
But Leslie chose the most neutral one that I would always have. So I always had a different hair colour back then. But then I shaved my head for cancer research back last September, so September 2019. And that's why I've got different hairs.
Wow. And
I did that with my assistant manager at the time as well. We did it out in the High Street, the Lewis High Street. Lots of people to see. We had this huge circle gathered around us, and And it was amazing. We raised quite a bit of money, and we did it for children's and young people's cancer. Which is it's just a very one close to my heart. I'm very passionate about the young people's cancer and whatnot, because I think there's a lot less research goes into that. But so we have specific campaigns twice a year for specifically children's and young people's, and we decided to do this big one for that. And it was amazing. It was really
It's
good.
admirable, I have to say.
Well,
Not many people would do that. You're very brave.
I don't think I'd do it again. I had some very funny hair for a few months, sticking up on ends and coming out all over the place. But it was good though, because we were both then 2 bald managers, and you could see our hair growing every week, every month, and it was quite fun to watch actually.
Wow.
See both our hair, and it was lovely. It was really good. It was a good time.
So that's the mystery between the changing hair colour.
Yes.
Different from the painting.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you have to sit for the painting, or was it done from a picture?
No, she took a picture of me upstairs, and she just paints from there. I didn't even know. Well, she just did it whenever she could, and came back a few months later, and
Wow.
it was amazing.
It's very, very nice.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And she seems to capture everybody so well. And I've noticed that all the pictures that we've seen over the years. I mean, I've been here for 4 years, pretty much the whole time. There's been here about 5-6 years now. And when she started to paint in the window, it was such a changing thing. It was amazing. It's, everyone was looking, watching, and our whole window was taken over, and it was amazing. And then you had someone to talk to when you're on the till as well. Got a bit bored. But it was amazing. She's raised an awful lot of money for cancer research. It's admirable what she does.
No, it really is. She's very, very dedicated.
Yeah.
And she's the most lovely lady. I can imagine that anybody if they had to sit for a portrait, they'd probably feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
Because she's just so kind and patient and just lovely.
I remember actually years ago when I used to come in here before I worked here, she was in the window, and I remember putting down my name for one and my email address and whatnot. And I thought it was that. I thought you had to sit in the window and get it done, because I wanted to get it done for my mum for a Christmas present or something. But it never ended up happening in the end. But because I thought you had to sit in the window and do it with her. But luckily,
Well, that would attract the public.
Absolutely.
Maybe you should get somebody in the window to be painted when Leslie can come back.
Absolutely. Yes, hopefully she can come back soon.
Hopefully.
Yes. It's amazing to see her pictures come to life. Like, it starts with a sketch, you think, well, what does it look like? And then she gets the painting and the shadows and the colours, and it's amazing. It's amazing what she does. But,
Indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You mentioned campaigns earlier. So
Yes.
how many campaigns would you do a year? Is it 2 or more?
So at the moment, we're not able to do that many due to the virus, and our managers don't want us going out on the street and collecting either at the moment. But we have, I think it's about 5 or 6 a year. We have the children's and young people's cancer, and we have Stand Up to Cancer twice a year. We have Race for Life. This is the test of my knowledge.
Don't worry
I
if you
believe
don't
that's
remember.
it. Yeah, I believe that's it. And then we just have just the general fundraising every month anyway. We just try and raise as much as we can, because that cash is 100% profit. So as much as we can get through that, the better. Really, the more research can be done, the more, the more everything.
Yeah, of course, yes.
The more how close we can get to the goal.
Yeah.
So.
How about donations during this lockdown situation?
Yeah, is
Have you got less or more?
Donations? At the first time, we had an awful lot more. We had it the second we opened, coming through the door.
Wow, I think everybody at home started tidying up and getting rid of things.
Which was amazing. But then after about 3 days, or not even that, a couple of days, we were full. And we couldn't take any more.
Wow.
And we had to leave everything then for 72 hours to quarantine.
Yeah.
And it was a bit more difficult at the beginning, but now we're getting more used to it, and the quarantine rule has been taken out of it now, so everything's getting a bit more back to normal.
A
little bit back to normal, which is good.
That's really good to know.
And then hopefully Leslie can come back in the window soon. That'll be a bit more normal, and just everything going back to a bit normal would be what we want, what we need. I think
would be great.
Absolutely.
Soon. Oh,
absolutely.
Something's alive.
Bit of Lego, I think.
So what do you do with the rest of the donations when you're full? Do you send it somewhere else?
No, we just have to stop.
Right.
We just have to stop taking.
Oh, wow.
Normally we wouldn't if it wasn't during this time. We would just sort of work as hard as we can. It would be on the floors, everywhere. It'd be everywhere. And we just have to try our hardest to keep it tidy because of such health and safety. We don't want anyone tripping up over anything. So it's a lot easier on our half now to be able to say, I'm sorry, could you bring it back Friday? Or we're not going to be able to take today, could you bring it back at the weekend? Or it's a lot easier on us and the volunteers who are coming back because they do the majority of the sorting, to be honest, of the items. So yeah, it's easier on them, it's less stress, it's less pressure, whereas it's already quite a bit more intense here at the moment.
Yes.
All hand washing, surface wiping, wearing gloves, wearing the masks. It's all a lot more anyway. So it's a lot better that we can control the amounts that we need. So,
that's very helpful for you guys.
Absolutely, to do. And I was, so I came here, saw the big advert in the window as I was going to Brighton on the bus with a friend. And it all started from there. I just came in, I met the manager then. About not quite soon after that, I turned 18, and then I applied for there wasn't a manager here at the time, an official manager or assistant manager. And so I applied for the assistant manager role after a few weeks of getting to know the place, getting to know people, and luckily they took me on. And
the rest is history.
Yeah, I didn't know an awful lot back then, and I think they took a leap with me, which I'm very thankful they did, because now I am running the shop and I have an assistant manager myself, and it is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. And if they never took that chance on me, I wouldn't be here still. So I'm very glad they did.
Wow, that's a very nice story.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you'll do the same with someone else.
Yes, I am always keeping my eyes peeled on some of the younger ones as well, because we have quite a few young volunteers now, and Cancer Research offer training courses, and the whole team, everyone. So I'm always offering the younger ones. Anyone who wants to learn more, I'm like, great, do a course. Come on, do this, because they already know the job. They're fantastic, and there's always jobs all around them, like Cancer Research managers, assistant managers, Sunday managers, shop manager, assistants. There's always opportunity, and I think you have to grasp at it when you see it. Really.
Yes. And sometimes you need someone to nudge you to grasp that
absolutely.
Opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what someone did for me. So I'm always trying to keep an eye out for everyone else as well. But yeah, we have some amazing volunteers, absolutely amazing, and. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll meet some of your volunteers later on.
Yes, well, I'm trying to think. I think some of them have been painted as well, actually.
We'll get to the bottom of that.
There are
they
some.
Can't escape.
Yeah, there are some who have been painted by Leslie. Sometimes she just does it because she wants to. She's got a commission, so it's even better. Like, we've got a picture of a volunteer up. We might put a picture up in the shop always. And yeah, it's quite funny walking up the stairs and just see two faces in front of you.
It's a great story. It's very, very nice. It's a nice story just before Christmas. So, if you would like to have a wonderful portrait painted, you don't have to sit for it. You can just send in a picture, bring it into the shop, or even online via an email to Leslie. She'd be very, very, very happy to do this for you. So, Hannah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is great. And let's have Leslie back as soon as we can.
Yes.
Leslie Nora Hills is poorly at the moment, and those people who are familiar with her lovely face and easel in the Action Cancer shop, which is at the bottom of School Hill and facing the precinct, will have noticed that although there are still portraits there, that there haven't been any new ones recently. But we do send our best wishes to Leslie and hope that she will soon be restored to the window of the Action Cancer studio shop as soon as she possibly is able to get back. Sorely missed. And our best wishes to Annie Verrill, who has gone on to other things. We've got a whole stack of programs which we're going to be showing over the next weeks and months, and she will pop up from time to time, and she does indeed grace the television screen. And let's hope that whoever she's working for now appreciates the little diamond that they've got. No, I am not telling you those people who remember those days, whether in fact our fights, our legendary fights, were real or whether they were assumed for the sake of hooking people into waters. Okay, it is now 10:13. It's 30 minutes past 10. And I'm happy to say that it's a half decent day out there. It's going to be 18 degrees today, and that's fairly warm. I would like to say for this time of the year, but I have no idea, no concept anymore about how the weather should be as opposed to what it is. But it's not bad. It is not bad in the least. I hope that your picture is bearing up. I noticed that we are having some of the power of the picture export is playing up a little bit. And it's just sad, really, but we do need to bring these programs to you, and I just hope that they're working well enough. Those of you particularly who are heavily into cancer research, into charities, into that sort of work, are able to take a look at and even rather than just share what's going on, try also putting us into a position where we can bring to you the necessary information. It is getting towards the end of a long, hard, arduous week. This is the first time that we've put into practice our process of having co-hosts, and that's worked brilliantly. We've been lucky with the people that are coming into the White Hart. We've been able to say, hey, would you like to come on board in television? We've done a whole host of things that we set out to get started. And we've got many, many more that we are going to find. Many more. We're going to find reasons to pop up with past programs. Hey, so there we are. Well, let's show this. Well, it is the mouth that roars. And in the first hour, that has been our standard. We look at the newspaper headlines the front pages. We look at the weather and all the things that we should look at. Speaking of which, by the way, it's just looking slightly dull outside at the moment. But that's only because we were promised scattered bright periods, and not all the time. So you can expect a little bit of overcast from time to time. Anyway, I keep down these non sequiturs, and unfortunately, then I forget what the hell I'm talking about, because it is tiring. It is Saturday. So I wish it was Saturday. It is Friday. It's the year 2022, and it's the 13th day of May. Friday the 13th. Oh my goodness me. It hadn't occurred to me. Friday the 13th. So many things have been done over the years. I can remember I worked very closely with Gloria Hunniford in Northern Ireland one time, and she was very keen on practical jokes on February the 1st. Or February 28th, 29th, I forget which. Anyway, with practical jokes, she loved one that suggested that she was sponsored by a man who made little helmets for racing pigeons. As you know, racing pigeons is a pretty hazardous thing for them. They actually encounter all sorts of obstacles. And her thesis was some of these pigeon trainers, pigeon owners, pigeon fanciers get carried away with allowing these pigeons to go through storm and hail and report back on what the rest of the world was doing. Because in those days, there was no television, there was no radio. Newspapers were very slight. In all, it was something that you did on your own. You got out there into the community, and you got yourself a bunch of friends, a bunch of colleagues, and indeed, that's exactly what we have. We've got a bunch of friends, a bunch of colleagues that are helping now put this television station together. It's in its formative years, but nonetheless, we can. Oh, I thought I heard ghost. Oh, it was ghost footsteps. Yeah, I can hear ghost footsteps. That's amazing. This hotel has got a ghost, and so it should have. I mean, it's after the 500th year, if you haven't got a ghost, you can't call yourself a hotel, can you? Right, I'm totally lost in where I was going at the moment. But one of the things that we do in that first hour is to rant and to express doubts and to offer criticism of some of the initiatives that the government, the opposition, various strong organizations, the stance that they take, and whether we think that it's worthwhile. And I have to say that for once, there wasn't much warning of this, and that is that Boris has said he wants the civil service looked at and 91,000 jobs culled. That's a hell of a lot of jobs, 91,000. And it's one of those things that I'm sure that people who have been in the civil service, although I often say that they're not worth anything else than being in the civil service, that the civil service is a career in itself, and it doesn't matter which department you're in, is that you know no more than the next bloke. What you do know is you know how to operate the system. Anyway, the important thing is that we start to look at ourselves as a society and a community and be honest with ourselves. Instead of all this, the NHS is great. No, the NHS isn't great. It's a huge monolith. It is so incompetent. And please misunderstand, we are not talking about the doctors and the nurses here and the other volunteer workers. But as a unit, it is incompetent. But what did we do on the first night of COVID? Everybody got out a tin saucepan and banged for the NHS. And signs went up, support our NHS, hands off our NHS. But the fact of the matter is, it's a community of people running a department who really have little understanding of what's going on in the world. And they don't know how to deliver. And they should know how to deliver. And it's not good enough that they don't know how to deliver. And if this is a start of a government initiative which will carry on to make sure that each department becomes leaner and leaner facing the problems that we have in our society, and cutting through the fog and not being suborned by, oh, well, yes, oh, they're very nice people. They do a nice job. They put a lot of effort in. Is it doing an efficient job? Is it doing the job that we need? And it's essential that we reform those areas of the civil service which simply aren't working. And 91,000 civil service jobs could go, according to Boris. And those people would ultimately find more work because they would either not want to, or they would have been axed out of that particular post at the moment. So the reform of the civil service, reform of governance, but also the banks need reforming. Well, we talked about the NHS. The banks particularly need reforming. They are dreadful in their treatment of society. They are so up their own backsides on finance and so on and so forth that they've forgotten that they've denuded villages of any ATMs, of small banking units, of, or maybe albeit only 2 or 3 people in a small village bank. But they were the focal point of people to come and chat. They were the focal point to keep those villages alive. They were a center for social gathering and goodwill. And what are we doing at the moment is we are doing away with the last of those, where we haven't succeeded already. And now we're going to have an unknown quantity, because we haven't prepared for this day. We're going to have reform. Whoopee, at least looked at. Now, I'm sure that the reform that I envisage for banks and building societies and a whole host of other organizations isn't the reform that they think. But if we have a voice on this television station, if we have a voice, then it is essential, absolutely essential, that that voice is a voice that will be heard. 91,000 civil service jobs will be axed. And according to the background in the papers, if you delve beyond the front pages and from the headlines, you will see a discussion and debate on how our society has let itself down. There was an implicit agreement between the Archbishop of Canterbury, the government, and other senior officials of various government organizations. They were permitted to work at home because there was a social space was needed, face-to-face, eye-to-eye, and so on. And now they want to go back to work. They don't want to. They're quite happy at home, thank you. But the inefficiency of the operations from passport to immigration to all the things that government runs has become frightening. You can't talk to your bank anymore. If you're walking off the street, there isn't a bank manager. It goes to computer. If you get on the phone, you are 50th in the queue, but don't go away. And then, because the computer on its own can't get it right, the computer generated thing in the bank says, your staff nurse or whatever will look after you until you're ready to go through the door. But don't be surprised, or don't be hurt, or don't be upset, or don't be frustrated if in fact what you find is everything is 10 times slower. Well, I am frustrated. I don't have time to sit around and wait for somebody to come back and say, hey, if you wait around, somebody will meet you in the flesh to flesh. No, I'm terribly sorry. The average call at the moment is 4.5 minutes, and there are 38. God only knows how many. It's a wonderful innovation. It ain't working. And we either make it work, in which case keep us, or throw us through the window and let somebody to come in who's got the ability for new I have to keep looking because there are people that pop their head in to the bar, and if I can, I shall invite them on. But they're going at speed this morning. It's 10:30. 18 degrees. Light breeze. Light cloud. Pleasant day. Why not take the family down to our favorite place? Here. Right, I had a moment there to just pull myself together, as it were, because it is Friday and it's a wind down, and nobody is. This hotel has been buzzing this week, absolutely buzzing. And Friday evening, of course, people will start to check in. It will buzz again this evening, but it's taking a well-earned rest. It's taking a well-earned rest from the rigors of the week. And if you come into the White Hart, you will be greeted by one of three lovely ladies, Jane, Shannon, or the Corona of the wife, Sally. And they are all very pleasant and very helpful. And they really do. I come in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and there they are already here, all happy and pleasant and polite. Coffee. Oh, I haven't finished my coffee. I should do that. It's cold, but it doesn't matter. And they give a wonderful ambience to the day and to the week. So I am going to, while I talk to you, I'm going to try and just get another program up that we looked at this morning and decided that it would be worth putting up. Once again, it goes back into Mirador's past, but is an interesting is a question of finding it, because strange enough, I didn't have quite the time this morning that I thought I would have. So I parked it where I have to search for it, and it's very silly. Of course, big organizations would have this. They have them no problems whatsoever, because they have people to do this. We don't. We've only got us, and the consequence, we have to sort of move around a little bit to see what's going down, as they would say, and we're trying very hard to find these things. One of the things that is coming up next week, or in a few days' time anyway, is the Battle of Lewis. The Battle of Lewis celebration, and there is fighting in the streets, if you can put it that way. We fighting in the streets is to celebrate the Battle of Lewis, where in fact fighting did take in the streets, even though the site of the main battle is a little bit outside of a little bit outside. No, we're not getting anywhere here. I'm so sorry. Outside the town proper, we had we do have I'm being terribly boring at the moment, simply because I'm quite anxious to see whether I can find this wretched this wretched program. Why on earth it's disappeared? I have no idea at all. That's me. I don't totally understand all these newfangled things. But anyway, the Battle of Lewes, 1264, is a reconstruction of the battle between Simon de Montfort forces and King Henry III, because Henry III was somebody who believed in divine right of kings, and that he should he should be it should be laissez-faire. Is that he'd be put there by God, and therefore he he should be left alone to do things as he wished. The barons took a very different point of view. They said, "No, hang on, this is our tax dollars. You keep money off us, and you're misspending it, and we don't like it particularly. We just as soon you got your act together and that you play ball with us." And the king wasn't terribly keen on that. He wanted to carry on the way that he was. So he was down here having a feast in the priory, St. Pancras Priory. And the St. Pancras Priory was the major one in the town. It dominated it. So the king decided to feast in the priory, which means he took his eye off the ball, and the unfortunate thing is, in doing that, it gave the barons a chance to invade, if you like, invade their space, and to get cracking. But I'm really boring you now. Never mind. It is now 10:41, and there are so many other things that one can talk about in Lewes. The death of the 17 martyrs, of course, which took place not very far from here, and right under where I'm sitting at the moment, there is a cellar. It's a wine cellar, but it's so small it acts as a dungeon. And some of the people who were burned at the stake for their religious beliefs because they withstood the pressure of Queen Mary, the first queen that we had in this country. And they were held there because they had defied her, and it was an issue of whether the Bible should be written in English, because until the late 1400s, it had always been written in Latin, and only monks and educated people could have access to it. The Bible was a secretive thing. They said, sorry, but we're going to continue to read it in English, and we believe that it should be published in English. And the Queen really got very upset because she was trying very hard to restore Roman Catholicism to the country, and not having very much success. So this latest thorn in the flesh was a bit naughty, a bit nasty. And so this group held here in the White Hart Hotel were marched out onto the high street, and they were put to the torch. They were burned to death. And it was becoming a common way in Europe of getting rid of your political enemies or transgressors or whatever. And our king or our queen paid no attention to the fact that she shouldn't be doing this sort of thing, and sent many people to the grave. So the problems of self-rule, or rule by an oligarch or a king, we would say, who could do more or less what he wanted, was not very fruitful for our economy, but also it was one of those things where it would be more democratic and liberal not to impose these sort of things. Liberalism and free thinking wouldn't be fixed ideas in those days. If they had just been left alone, everything would have probably turned out to be all right. But it wasn't. And she burned these 17 martyrs at the stake. And it's reenacted once a year on November the 5th. So there are two major celebrations that we have here. One is the Battle of Lewes celebrations with people fighting one another in the streets, broadswords and so on. And two is the burning of the martyrs. Both significant, not only in the change of history of this town, but in the change of history in the elder son of Mary, and in fact she died childless, so it became her sister, Elizabeth the First, so-called Golden Age, that took over. So there, it all happens here. You see, it happens where I'm sitting, and whether we'll have a revolution that will change the face of the earth, I have no idea, none whatsoever. Let's have a look at something somewhere, shall we? This is interesting. The Military Wives Review. A few years ago, the choirs were formed throughout Britain with working people. They're in their work environment, and that the winner would actually sing at the Albert Hall in front of the Queen for Remembrance Day. And one of our teams, one of our groups, companies, won the damn thing. And so we had a choir here singing professionally on television, and the way they went, and it became a first class. Oh, good morning. How are you? I'm glad to see you. Come and pull up a chair.
I can't stop on.
Can you not stop? Right now, I'm going to tell you because sometimes I have these conversations with people that you can't see, and they're actually much more mysterious. But there are people around me who bludgeon me to death, kick me, throw me from pillar to post, and all for the good of me and what we're trying to do. And one of them has just walked in, Kevin Kramer. Now, Kevin is a legend in Lewis in the broadcast industry. He's been involved with radio stations and television stations. You name it, he's done it. And he brings a lifetime of professional work with him. And anything that he has to say is always worth listening to. And he's not normally a shy bloke, I'll tell you. It's just that, no, he hasn't shaved this morning.
Yeah, I haven't grown a beard yet.
He hasn't grown a beard yet. So it's very good to see Kevin, because I was beginning to struggle with my history a bit. Now, he has done a radio show. Is it on the Battle of Lewis?
Yes, it's the Battle of Lewis. We had the celebrations, 5, 6 years ago now, pre-pandemic at least. And it's still on Spreaker.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to know about the Battle of Lewis, I've listened to parts of this, and it's very well done indeed.
It's called the Kevin Kramer Show on Spreaker.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. That's simple enough, isn't it? Kevin Kramer, the Kevin Kramer Show. But this one about the Battle of Lewis is particularly good. And since that's coming up, when is it? Is it next week or the week after?
What, Battle of Lewis celebration?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that when the streets are closed?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. That catches me a bit by surprise. I thought it was in the middle of the week. Right. Okay. So tomorrow, Battle of Lewis, and don't try to get down the high street.
Yes, it's 14th and 15th. Yeah.
Yes. Right. That's absolutely right. You've got it right.
I hope so. Yeah. Anyway, good to see you. Got a rush, and next time I'll come and join in.
Oh, good. We look forward to that.
Yeah.
You watch out for the name. Those people who are new to Lewis, those who are familiar with old Louisians will know the name. Those who are new, watch out. This man understands his business. And if we are to have good independent media here, he and I work together on this, but he, far more than me, has actually powered half his life into that dream and ideal. So good for you, Kevin, and it's good to see you.
Speak to you soon. Bye,
Okay.
everybody. Yeah.
So there we are. That's good. That's a great visitor. Now, the military wives they actually took their choir to the Albert Hall and did sing in front of the Queen. But they made a movie of it, and here's what the military thought of the movie.
I'm Kate Barclay, Colonel Barclay's wife. We need to come up with some exciting activities while our service people are away.
What about singing?
I really enjoyed it. I liked the story, and I related to lots of it, having been an army wife myself. I've never been in a choir and I can't sing. It's a little bit light-hearted in parts, I thought, too light. My own experience of the army was it was far more rigid than they showed. Although I was impressed by the colonel's wife, I was married to a colonel, lieutenant colonel in the Gurkhas. There are set rules, and she had the problem that I had. The others are called other ranks. There's a hierarchy in the army, and I thought they addressed it quite well, actually. There is a difficulty there.
It's nice to see a film where it's not only the central characters are women, but nearly all the characters are women. The men hardly get a look in. We know that the director, Peter Castaneo, directed The Full Monty. It is treated very much, I think, as ultimately a feel-good film with serious bits, like the Colonel's lady is grieving the loss of her son. This is about the women waiting for their men women in the Afghan war. So it was given perhaps quite a light touch a lot of the time.
I got a little bit tearful about them because I know the hardship that's suffered by everybody when your men go away. I was lucky my husband didn't actually go to war, but I know what it's like being on your own and being a single mother. I think they could have gone a bit deeper with that.
There's a certain artificiality about the way that it is structured and told, but I think quite a lot of people will enjoy it. Particularly, it's nice to have a tribute to the military wives, the real military wives, who spend so much time on their own, worrying about their husbands, and some of them, of course, they lose their husbands.
This was a feel-good film. This is about people who found something meaningful to do through an upsetting, difficult time. So it was a small conceit, but I think it was worthy.
Lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and think of you.
We should be back with you. I just have to get rid of something there. Right. We coming up to 10:53. We probably will cut ourselves a little short this morning, but one of the things that we historically we have and particularly since slavery has become such an issue with people pulling down statues and so on, is there's a man who is buried in a little village not too far from Lewes called Brightling, and he was known as Mad Jack Fuller. Mad Jack, at 19, was left a fortune in plantations in the West Indies. So he had more money than he knew what to do with. And he did all sorts of interesting things locally. He built follies. He supported lifeboats. He supported innovative inventions, or at least the research into them, such as Faraday's cage. Faraday's cage being the definitive research that allowed us to have television pictures. He supported the Davies lamp, the lamp, safety lamp that miners were able to take down into the pits before they'd taken a canary. The canary stuffed it. That meant that the gas was around. This lamp actually it didn't totally detect it, but what it did do is it made sure that it didn't blow up. Naked flame didn't blow up the whole mine from the seepage of gas in it. But he also managed to build himself a mausoleum in Brightling, and you can see it. And it's a mini pyramid. And Mad Jack is supposed to be sitting in there with his glass of port. Actually, it was a red wine that he was fond of, and his cards. And unfortunately, he got to 22 stone. It was rather bigger than he envisaged. But the fact is, he was an MP. He was the MP for Lewes. And he, at the time of, we brought Mad Jack to the forefront at the time that everybody was having problems with the now discredited speaker, Burkhoff. And the Mad Jack was actually banned from the House of Commons for 2 weeks. Because he called the speaker of the day Pipsqueak. More or less, he said, "You don't know what the hell you're doing," and so he was slung out of the House of Commons. And it's Mad Jack also built the first life tower. What do we call them? But anyway, the life the towers that had a little staff in and a beacon at the top, so that the light could warn ships that they were closing in on potentially dangerous rocks. But also it stood as a navigation beacon, so that they could had a fixed point. And he built the Eastbourne one. Other people bought the one at Seaford and so on. But in those days, these were new things. So that's who he was, Mad Jack Fuller. You keep your eye open for him. He's an interesting character, a very interesting character, and a lot of what he did locally is a lot of what he did locally is noticeable, as it were. And if we can, I'd like to play you a documentary made by some students. Here we are. Let's hope that it will fire, because it's worthwhile.
I always find it strange how two people can experience and view a place in completely different ways.
Jack Fuller was born into money, and at the age of 20 he moved to Brightling in East Sussex after inheriting land and a fortune from his Uncle Rose. At the age of 22, Fuller became the Member of Parliament for Southampton. Fuller lost his seat after a vicious row over his support for slavery. This was the time when he began to focus more on his estate and his love of combining art and science.
I moved down from Glasgow to Sussex when I was 9 years old, and that would be in 2003. I first saw the Follies when my granddad was driving me through Brightling, and I remember looking at them and just asking him what these strange buildings were.
Jack Fuller was affectionately known as Mad Jack by local residents who did not understand his fascination with useless buildings. A folly is a building with no purpose other than decoration. The first of Jack's 6 follies was the summer house. Jack was a keen gambler, and he entered into a wager that he could see the spire of Dallington Church from his window. Upon realising that he was mistaken, he quickly constructed the sugarloaf to very effectively mimic the church spire.
I looked out of my girlfriend's window and saw this strange building in the distance, and I asked her, what is this strange building? And she replied that it was the Sugarloaf.
Have a seat and I'll bring it to you. Have a seat in the van. Yeah, I'll bring it to you.
The first time I went, I remember I took my girlfriend there and I gave her a love letter.
The Rotunda Temple was built to hold artwork, most notably paintings commissioned from J.M.W. Turner. Jack was a philanthropist, and during an economic depression he hired hundreds of local labourers to build a huge wall around his estate. However, the wall did not stop trespassers.
You know, we all thought the temple was full of art, and I was a bit shocked to find out that there was none. All I found when I first went in was graffiti left from the Canadian Air Force that was stationed on the estate during the Second World War.
The temple is the motif for the internationally renowned Breitling horse trials, which brings in competitors and spectators from all walks of life. The Hermit's Watchtower was built so that Jack could survey his land and have views of the sea.
The tower was my special place. I used to go there when I was feeling a bit down or I had to clear my mind. As you go up the stairs, on the right-hand side, my girlfriend's initials are still there. Mine, well, are not there anymore. When I was feeling alone, I would go to the top of the tower, I would lie down, I would stare through the open roof. I'd wait for nightfall, and then I would look at all the stars. Yeah, I would wonder what my place on this earth is. Why I was here, and I would also wonder why the Follies are here. And you know, it dawned on me that the Follies aligned almost with the stars, and it feels like some of them are there to replicate Orion's belt, others are there to, you know, to be individual stars, like the observatory would be Betelgeuse.
I suppose it might have been off about we have got a butcher and a coffee shop, maybe that's it.
I've heard some people argue that the observatory is not a folly as it serves a purpose, but don't all the follies serve a purpose? They serve our local history, our culture. When I first came to Sussex from Glasgow, I was such an outsider. People had no idea what I was saying, and I had to get something to point me in the right direction.
The obelisk dominates the landscape and is the second highest point in Sussex.
I remember looking up at the needle and realising that it pierces the vast uninterrupted sky.
Jack Fuller commissioned the pyramid to be his mausoleum 24 years before his death. This immense structure draws attention away from the Thomas à Becket church, in whose graveyard it stands.
I've heard that Jack was buried in the pyramid sitting up in his armchair, with a glass of claret and a roast chicken dinner in front of him. The Follies are all focal points, but don't let them fool you. Their place in the landscape belies their size and their distance. In the beginning I was hungry to consume them, and I had rushed to each one in turn. But a short distance turned into a mile, a run into a trek. At last, I grew to love the surroundings and adopted the Follies as guides rather than destinations.
Jack Fuller was respected by many as a squire who, at a time of extreme poverty, when soldiers were returning from the Napoleonic War, did what he could to provide employment and prevent revolution. He was ridiculed by others for his views on slavery and his obsession with erecting follies while people were going hungry.
Fuller's Follies are an important part of my life and have helped me to find my place. I know many people have followed this path before I have, and I love nothing better than bringing new people to experience them and to fall in love like I did.
So there you are, Mad Jack Fuller, and a delightful little documentary from some students from Brighton, and they did a very nice job on it. There we have it at 11:10, and I think that what we will do is we will call it quits for the week. That's what we will do. It's very quiet in the hotel right now. I might indulge in a little glass of wine before I set out for the rest of the day. And I think we've had an interesting week. We've had some highs, we've had some lows. We've been busy and we've been slow. But more and more, we are going to have people on. Just a reminder that you got the Battle of Lewes replay simulation in High Street tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow all day, I guess. So you'll have people roaming around in suits of armor. And then next week, we will be outlining for you some of the things that are happening for the rest of the summer. So it's a very good day to you. I hope that you've enjoyed being with us. We can be a bit of a drag sometimes, but we can also bring you a little bit of fun, which we have during the week. We're here. This is a walk-in television studio. You can walk in and you can have your say. You don't have to make an appointment with us. So do feel that you can do that. It's at the White Hart Hotel, Mirror Television, on weekly, daily in the week for 8 to 8:30 to 11:30. and we are beginning to motor. And we would like you to motor with us. So do come along and share the glory. We've got some really first-class people involved. They bring a first-class service, and we're delighted with them. And at long last, it's coming together, and we are very, very, very pleased. And we're grateful. We're grateful to Sally and Cliff at the White Hart Hotel for letting us use the hotel to broadcast from. But it is the right thing for Lewis to be surrounded by the Tom Paine aura, because this television station is new. This television station is a bit controversial. This television station is a rebel, and all those things are grist to the mill of people who live in Lewis. So for the moment, we'll say toodle pip. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to having you join us again at 8:30 on Monday morning. Toodles, he said. Toodles, yes, toodles. Toodles.